if you look at the history of Tesla, you go back from 2003 to 2021, and then if I look at the list of all of 2022, it's all as we understand, it's all about cars. But now, if you look at the list, 2023, and if you just have to stop and think about this, right? So we've got a bunch of things about cars, and you got your lithium refinery, right? You have your Giga Nevada mega packs, you got your Tesla bot, you have Dojo, you know, Tesla Energy, Tesla Semi, it's just it's crazy to realize that the conversations that everybody's having about Tesla has changed. And I've been saying this, that I was very happy that in the last earnings call, the analysts themselves brought up the word Tesla Energy themselves 4 times. So
Yeah.
even they are starting to realize this. And so I was able to take Nitsao's table, and with his permission, I kind of rearranged it so it's a little bit easier for us to see. But Tesla's not another car company, is it? And here's all the businesses that Tesla's doing. And really, transportation and cars and semis is just one part, one little bit here. But the rest of it, right? We're talking energy, which is even a potentially equal or bigger. Then now we're doing refinery and mining of batteries and resources. And of course, we are at the end of the day, they're a software company. And so we're going to start hearing much more about the App Store and the infotainment entertainment system. FSD is going to start making a dent in terms of the revenue. Dojo, if that becomes its own business, he's already talked about that. That could be a hundreds of billions of dollars of revenue, and of course the automation of the robots and so forth. So, one of the questions I wanted to ask the group here is one catalyst or type of catalyst that I kind of put in there and then I pulled off, and I don't know if I should put back in, but I really feel strongly should be in there. Is this notion that sometime this year, some sort of third party vendor is going to partner in a big way with Tesla. So, similar to how we had Hertz talking about this big deal with Tesla, and it made the news. It was pretty, earth moving in terms of both Tesla and the news. Something's going to happen this year, whether it's a supercharger partnership or what's the likelihood that an OEM, a legacy car manufacturer, is going to partner with Tesla and say, "Hey, I want to do skateboards, I want to do FSD, I want to do your software infotainment system, something." Is going to be licensed. What do you guys think? Is that even a possibility, or am I dreaming that it's going to happen this year?
I think it could be announced, but in terms of it's all coming down to supply, and you have to think about who would they partner with, right? Because all of these other OEMs have kind of announced their own strategy. It's almost like, hey, we think we have something better. You just got to wait a couple of years to see it. Um, so we'll see. I think I think you'd have to see some significant milestones also achieved. Tesla. If we're talking about full self driving, um, I think it could happen. This is something I kind of call an option value. You take the base case of them just building and shipping cars and just growing that business immensely, and then building and shipping energy and growing that immensely. The first level of option value is them, getting FSD going and getting it scaled in their own portfolio. And then really quickly, I think others are going to wake up and see like, wow, this is the smallest, this is the most refined unit economics to enable this great value proposition for consumers. Everything else is many times more, when you look at the vehicle level to enable something like this, and it's not even performing or it's not even scalable. So I think Tesla, to your point, I think they have many things that others would like to license and could and would be much more scalable. But I think Tesla wants to get there as soon as they can. And I also think Tesla wants to make sure that they have assured supply, for all their vehicles, based on what they're licensing out. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Jeff. And I think it's actually a mixture of two things. First, the supply, you're completely right on that one. And then the motivation of the demand. Do I think that the European car makers, the US car makers, the Japanese car makers should do that? Well, for sure. I mean, they should do that. Like they should have done it 6 months ago, if not longer. Uh, do I think they can justify to themselves to now do it? They're probably not yet in dire enough a situation to reach out. And they probably think they will find cheaper solutions with some Chinese car makers or other partnerships. So I expect rather consolidation to happen in the OEM world, and these people, it always takes months and short years for these to happen. More concentrated on their traditional survival techniques. The old, I mean, are two blind people suddenly seeing? Probably not, but they believe for a while that the partnership is going to help them. I'll never forget the merger between Daimler and Chrysler. That was the opener on it shouldn't have car industry. So anyway, long story short, do I believe direct car competitors to reach out and license? No. Do I believe that peripheric um, um, hertzes or other fleets? I think there are actually going to be many newer fleets that will have special edition cars, cheaper cars, or something else that will strive. Yes, I expect that to start building as soon as supply is there for them to be able to reach out. Now, I have no means of knowing whether it's in 3 months or in 12 months, but I do believe that is a sector where Tesla will be able to grow a lot.
What do you think, Sat?
Historically, Tesla has done partnerships with other OEMs. They did with Toyota, with the Mercedes. Daimler helped actually rescue them with the $50 million infusion of the funds in 2008. But it's also mutual. It's always some kind of mutual trade that they have. They use the suppliers of Mercedes. The stock of Model S used to be the same as the one in Mercedes. So they also did the EURAV EV. I guess it was ultimately a compliance car for Toyota, but it was also learning about the EV platform and so forth. And they had that contract, and then they, stopped the EVs for that matter for the Toyota. So kind of their loss. But now you hear partnership with BYD for the supply of batteries. So the cross breeding of different companies, even though they seemingly could be adversarial or a rival, we're not in a business where it's really simplistic anymore. We're very complex in the industries that we have. Like Netflix is technically a competitor to Amazon Prime Video, but Netflix uses the AWS service, right, which is Amazon, right? So they overlap in every other parts of what you have in the industry and in which section they actually help with the partnership. So I don't think they can benefit as much from the OEMs now that they've learned how to make the EVs better than EVs and cars, mostly on par with or better than the other OEMs. So there's not going to be a benefit in the OEM's sense, but it has to be something that they need help with, which is the batteries. So BYD is actually a battery cell phone maker first, and they've slowly gone into the vehicle segment. Uh, so they have a different line that was the main business. They're just expanding their business to electric cars. So it's not nothing new that BYD is in the car space, but their bread and butter is this cell manufacturing. So that doesn't surprise me now they're supplying it because Tesla needs. It doesn't matter if you're right or not. Like, you need all the batteries in the world. It's not enough. The next wave that we're going into, it's not enough batteries. So you're going to need everyone to be on board, which is the whole point of the Investor Day, to get everyone on board to take part of that whole sustainable part, advancement of sustainable energy and transport to the next level. So I think any partnership is going to be in relation to that mission, but I don't think it's going to be the legacy OEMs unless the legacy OEMs are providing something that they don't have at this moment.
I think, Xander.
Um, I guess you're talking about powered by Intel. Um, I can see that happening with maybe the software
hmm
aside and integration into the supercharger network. But what's the advantage? These guys can figure out how to make a good motor, right? Tesla's perhaps the management of the temperatures in the battery packs, if that is an advantage, and I think maybe Jeff knows more about this than I do. I think that those things have a potential, but this year I don't. I don't think. I think there's a lot of pride when it comes to other manufacturers. We hear about that from some of the people that work. I know a guy at Porsche, and you know. So maybe you can expand on it, Herbert. What do you think?
Sure.
Then? Is there a
Yeah.
specific?
Yeah. Well, let me say it. So first of all, I think that the legacy manufacturers are desperate. I think it's very clear now that you're seeing the results of where they're headed. It's very clear this year. They're struggling. We're seeing companies fall. We're seeing companies realize that they're about to fall unless they make a decision and help. I think that when you think of Tesla, they've always said that their mission is accelerate sustainable energy. They've always said that factory is our product. Now that they've got the factories moving, I can see a OEM investing and having them, Tesla build the factory on their behalf. And Tesla saying, sure, I would like to do that because I want to help you. I don't want to kill you. We need as many of them as possible. And so at the end of the day, I think if Tesla could actually not only create their own cars and sell it, but actually be the underlying technology that they're hoping other companies will sell, it kind of makes sense to me. But like you say, it doesn't have to be the car parts too. It can just be the software, the entertainment system, the FSD. It can be the superchargers. I just want a supercharger. I just want McDonald's to come out and say, every single McDonald's will now have a supercharger network with it. Why can't they just do that? It's going to happen. It will happen. Mark my words, it will happen. Something like that will happen. So that's what I'm saying is something like that. The other point I want to make is earlier Jeff had said something about, which we hear a lot of people say, listen, Tesla is an auto company, just auto alone, they're going to succeed. There's so much potential for energy and robots and all these things, but we look at it as an options play. When it happens, oh my God, the stock will rise. But right now, we don't need to look at that. I'm saying that, yes, that is true, but look at where we're at. In 2023, these things are no longer options play. They're in play. They're happening. Their revenue's showing up now. As we all said here, energy is a real business now. And it's hockey sticking up so that by the end of this year, we're going to see $2 billion in profit. We're going to start seeing bots being moved and being sold. We're going to start seeing lithium refinery is broken ground. In 2 years, it'll be available. So these things are no longer options play. Or at some point, maybe in 6 months from now, a year from now, they're real businesses. Maybe Dojo will be announced as a real business at some point. So you know what I mean. So these things it's fast becoming the business that Tesla is going to show is real business. And I'm saying to you, in 2023, you're starting to see the narrative change. We're starting to hear more and more conversations about things other than automobiles.